welcome to Today in Woburn. I'm your host, Samantha Stone, and I'm excited today because we have to get an update on the city as always. We also have another candidate for election up. I'm so pleased that everybody's participating in our election series so we can really get to know the people who are hoping to serve our community. And we're going to talk about Porch Fest, which I am very excited about. I have a really good family friend who has done a version of Porch Fest in another city, and it just looks so fun. Every time I see pictures, I'm super jealous. So I'm really glad that we're bringing it to Woburn, and we'll talk about that in a couple minutes. First up, as always, welcome, Scott.
Hey, Samantha, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. I wanted to touch base about a couple of things, and then I don't know if you may have some things you want to bring up as well. I know when we connected offline a couple weeks ago, there was a PFAS update, and the numbers are a little bit above. All that information is on the website, but I didn't know if there's anything that you wanted to add to that and just make sure people have I don't know that everybody's gotten their notice yet.
Good. Yeah, the PFAS is we do it on a quarterly basis. So we were slightly elevated, remember, in August, but the results came back in September. And for the quarter, that's what the DEP watches, the quarter, the 20 parts per trillion for the PFAS 6, that's what they're looking for. So we actually were in compliance. So we've been in compliance for this quarter, which was July, August, and September. And that makes it 4 consecutive quarters that we've been in compliance with DEP regulations, which is good. It's a real good thing. So I think residents should be happy about that. And the bigger picture is what they really should be happy about is that we're committed to moving forward with replacing or adding 6 charcoal filters to remove all the PFAS. So we're in a good place. We're in a good place with our testing, and we continue to move forward. There's something in front of the city council tomorrow night, just as far, just a little bit more house cleaning, and then we'll be moving ahead with our application with SRF. That's the grant funding, the 0% grant funding. That's a great thing for the city. And we've also, I put down a zoning change to allow for solar panels on top of the new solar on a new PFAS treatment plant. So that'll be a good thing too. So that'll be in front of the city council.
That's great. I'm so glad to hear that. Well, were the solar panels, do they feed the city's electric account, or what will they power?
They'll power a very modest. It's not a big roof, so they'll power a very modest portion of the electricity needed to run the PFAS treatment plant.
Got it.
But it's one of those things.
Anything is better than nothing. That's great.
That's right. So when you move in, and the payback is what you look at, and this will be potentially financed or be part of the grant from SRF, which means it would hopefully won't cost anything, which means the payback is from day one. You're making money right away. So it's really best practices we should be looking at for all of our municipal roofs and areas we can put solar on, particularly going forward.
That's great. We invested in solar maybe 5 years ago for our home, and we've been very happy with the contribution to our house. So obviously a small scale on my house, but totally appreciate that.
Right.
A couple things. So recently, I know we had the flag raising for National Hispanic Heritage Month, which was great to see some of the pictures and things I saw of that. And then I think we have yellow lights, and
we do
kind of right now. If you want to just remind everybody what those yellow lights are for.
So that's in honor of childhood cancer, and that's a movement that I think it was one of Bobby's classmates, Tony, started. His son had passed away from cancer, and Tony himself is a cancer survivor, but he and Brenda Cerrone had approached me, I think it was 12 years ago, and we've been proudly honoring Childhood Cancer Month for October with the yellow flags, ribbons, and lights. So I give a lot of credit for Tony for his everything he's gone through, not only with his losing a child, but also for being a cancer survivor himself, and his great friend Brenda Cerrone, who was really helping him all along the way. So it's a feel good thing for the city.
That's great. Thank you for reminding us all of that. Two other little things. One is I wanted to remind people that the fall fireworks are coming up on September 30th in Library Field, which is a really fun activity. And the Kiwanis sponsor that with support from the city. So if there's any information that people want on that, the Kiwanis have on their Facebook page, and I'm sure you'll see information otherwise, but it'll be a fun afternoon, 3 to 7, because it gets dark a little earlier. The fireworks could be a little earlier now than when we do them in June.
Right. Yeah. So that's coming up at the end of the month. And also that hospice, step out for hospice. That's the walk in the road race. That's a good time. That's October 1st. So both those are good events coming at the end of the month.
Great. Thank you for reminding us about the walk. The last thing I wanted to ask you about is, I know we have done a school feasibility study where we looked at our buildings and recommendations have come back. I know that some people have looked at it. I'm not sure it's gone through full committee review at this point. When do we expect some of that information to be publicly available for people to see what those recommendations were?
It should be very shortly. It's a one of the things about the feasibility, it's very voluminous, and I think we need to have a little bit more of a kind of like an executive breakdown.
We would all appreciate an executive summary of it.
So it's much easier, but we're working on that. And like I said, it's very voluminous and a lot of needs identified. So we'll be working on that and looking at different funding sources. That'll be good.
Great. Excellent. Anything else you want to add before I let you go?
I think you've got a full staff, but maybe next week we can talk more about the migrant situation, how that's working out in the city, and what we're doing, and how the schools have been handling. Just a shout out to Matt Crowley and his staff who have been working on this challenge and getting the kids registered and into the schools, and the help he's had from principals, teachers, and staff, and working on this. And like to probably need a lot more time on it, and we can talk maybe next Monday if you want. Maybe I'll just do my whole time on the situation.
Next up, we're going to switch gears and we're going to talk all about music and an exciting new program that's being delivered in Woburn. Welcome, Pat and Craig.
How are we doing? Thanks for having us.
I'm really excited to have both of you with me today. I know this was an idea that I feel like just started not all that long ago. Maybe you've been thinking about it for years, but it feels like somebody had an idea. Lots of people said, yeah, go for it. And you went for it. So tell us, I'm a little bit familiar with the Porch Fest from some friends who have participated in other cities, but tell us a little bit about what it is for those who've never had the pleasure of participating.
You want to take this one?
Yeah, Porch Fest, it originated somewhere in upstate New York. I forget exactly which city, so my apologies. But around here, it kind of became very popular in Somerville, and it expanded out from there. And basically what it is, it's a daytime, door-to-door, yard to yard, porch to porch kind of concert that's happening throughout the city in a day. So, we have hosts who are gonna, allow people to come to their front door, and they'll have bands playing for them, and people can just, be out and enjoy the neighbors and family and have a good time.
I just absolutely love it. It's so fun to see lots of local musicians. Some we might have seen places, some we might never have seen before. So tell us a little bit about the musicians who have signed up or who might want to participate. Where can they get more information?
So we have WoburnPorchFest.com. There's info there, and there's a Facebook page dedicated to it. We have a lot of spots already filled. We're pretty much at capacity, but we'll talk about that later, I guess. But there's people from singer-songwriters to full bands, cover bands, all sorts of music happening that day. So
that's fantastic. So remind us when this is. This is October 7th? Yeah. And what time does it all happen?
So we're thinking it's kind of set up for 12 to 7, and people that are hosting can kind of set whatever hours they want. They might only have 1 or 2 performers, and we'll do our best to kind of get that all up on the website. And we'll also have like a Google map so you can see when and where people are performing throughout the city.
I love it. So this is a lot of work to organize. What inspired you to raise your hands and do it. Maybe you regret it now, but hopefully not. Tell us a little bit about what got you started.
Well, it's something we've kind of been doing already. To be honest with you, we just kind of had these block parties that organically happened in our neighborhood. We're over in East Woburn, and we would just, I'd have my stepbrother and his friend would just come and play music on the porch, and people would just float in and out, and it was cool. And over the years, that started growing to the point where we had 5 bands last year. So we decided maybe it was time to kind of step up and, make it a citywide situation. And with the help of the Woburn Cultural Council, we were able to get a grant to help fund some of the things that we need to do to get things off the ground here.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you so much for sharing your block party with the rest of us now. I'm really excited about that. Before I let you go, just one last question. For those people who have maybe never participated before, what are things that you would recommend for them to make the most of the day and have the most fun if they're not playing, but just listening to music?
So definitely plan out your day, look on the map, see where things are, try and maximize your time at each spot. As always, we ask people to be respectful of the people that are hosting and playing, stay out of the street, just use common sense in that regard. And, bring some food, something to snack on.
Chair.
Bring a chair,
Phone chair is nice.
It's a very low key thing. And we're just asking people to get out and maybe meet some new neighbors. We've all been kind of stuck in our houses for a bit, so it's time to get out there and enjoy it.
Yeah,
I love that, and I know a friend of our family who is participating. She always has the funnest costumes on. I don't know why, but she's always got a theme going with a bunch of friends, just for fun, just to get out there and be a little silly. So don't be afraid to make a day of it.
Yeah, if you walk out your front door and you hear music, just follow your ears to that place and have a good time.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Up next, we're going to talk a little bit about a candidate for City Councilor at Large, Bob Meaney. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Samantha, for having me.
I'm really glad that you're here. I know that you held city council position, I think 3 terms, if my memory serves me correct. Tell us a little bit about what's motivated you to come back in this new capacity.
Well, back when I was on the council, I did serve 3 terms and decided not to run for re-election for a 4th term because I was recently married, and the time it takes on the council is just time consuming. Not only is there city council meetings twice a month, but you've got committee meetings and site visits and phone calls and dealing with constituents. And it was just, at that time, starting a family, it was just going to be too much. So I decided not to run for re-election. And now I have the time. Now I own my own company with my business partner. I make my own schedule. I travel if I need to, when I want. So I have the time to give back to the city again, like I did when I represented the residents of Ward 3.
Excellent. Well, thank you for hoping to serve our community. We're so fortunate to have so many people who are willing to dedicate the time and effort to do that. We know that isn't easy. City Councilor at Large is a particularly, I would say in some ways, challenging position because it's not just for one ward. It's actually, you have to serve the city overall.
Right.
What are some of the ways that you've been in touch with the community or that you want folks to reach out to you so that you can get to know the needs across our city?
So I didn't want to start campaigning much before Labor Day with the mayoral primary election. So we started after Labor Day. I've been walking streets, at night, in the afternoon. I try to pick a few streets of Ward and just kind of get out there and see what people are saying. I also stand on the Common. I've been on the Common most mornings. Trying to just get the visibility out there. So it's at large is definitely a challenge. But my family lives in Ward 3. My brother Kevin lives in Ward 1. I live in Ward 4. So we've got our branches spread out through the city, and So I'm looking forward to continuing doing what I've been doing. We've got actually a campaign kickoff party on October 1st, which really going to give us 5 weeks. It's going to be kind of a sprint to the election on November 7th. So looking just to continue to gear up. We're going to send out some mailings and things like that, and what my positions are on certain items. Naturally, anybody can reach out to me. I'm on Facebook. My phone is I actually have a house phone, if you can believe that. It's still listed, along with my cell phone is on my material.
The Historical Society is going to come over and document that for you.
It's not a dial one, but I do remember those.
Oh, that's too funny. I love it. So, one of the things that is, I always ask all candidates is you're looking through the challenges and opportunities we have as a city. What are some of the things that you think are most critical that you'll focus on should you be elected?
Well, I think my top priority would be, obviously, first off, would be to meet with the ward aldermen, see what their priorities are. There's always strength in numbers, and see what their issues are in their ward, or what they feel their issues are, and maybe work together on coming together on certain items or issues, whatever they think the needs may be of their constituents. But I think my top priority would be housing. I look at the housing crisis, not only in Woburn, in Massachusetts, but across the U.S. I don't think we're doing enough for our veterans. I don't think we're doing enough for our elderly. I would like to start a housing partnership committee, and I'd be happy to spearhead that, along with the Woburn Redevelopment Authority, the Woburn Housing Authority, and our veterans agent. I just think that we need to continue to focus and provide housing. I mean, our baby boomers are getting up there in age. People are living longer. People are staying in the units that we currently have. I think there's roughly 500 of them across the city for longer periods of time. And I was looking back, the last time we added a new elderly home or a new units that came on board was 1980 or 1981 with Library Park. Prior to that was Campbell Street. So since then, for 40 years, we really haven't added any significant stock units that are in the Woburn Housing Authority's realm. So I would love to work with them on ideas. I would love to go to the existing apartment complexes and see if they really want to be a corporate citizen with us, a good corporate citizen, and see if we can work out some type of arrangements for our veterans, whether it's a deep discounted rental unit or some type of incentives that we can put in place. I just think that we need to do more. The price of a 2-bedroom apartment here in Woburn is well over $2,000 if you can find one for $2,000. I mean, it's in the housing prices are going crazy. So I just think, my first top priority would be housing. And then obviously we have a number of different other issues that we need to deal with. But I would like to focus on that as in my first term. So.
Well, housing is certainly a thing. I mean, as a mom, my adult children are living here because it is
Yeah.
not smart of them to pay the kind of rent that would require that. I'm not sure how they feel about that all the time, but I get to keep them a little longer, which I appreciate. But it is a real crisis, and not just in Woburn, I recognize, but we really do have such a wonderful, diverse community, and we don't have housing diversity as much as we should at this point.
Mhm.
And we certainly need to support lots of different economic levels. And so I glad to hear that's something that you might want to focus on,
Yep.
which is really important to us. One of the other things that is an important role in city council, and city councilor at large certainly serves that, as well as all the other ward leaders, is around budgeting overall, and the role that you play in approving the budget. The mayor is going to present one, but the city council has to approve it. And from your experiences in past times, tell us a little bit about how you approach budgeting reviews and what role you believe city council plays there.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we have a limited role. I mean, it's essentially the mayor's budget, and it comes down for our approval. Certainly in the past, I've either chaired or sat on, the finance committee in the city of Woburn for a period of time. Went through a number of different budgets when I was on the city council. met with all the department heads, kind of understanding what their needs are, what the mayor has appropriated, and is that enough money for them to operate on a daily basis and provide the services to the citizens of Woburn. Essentially, that's our role is to essentially talk to the department heads, grill them on their employees, on their services. What do they need? What do they have? What are their wants? And then maybe kind of work with the mayor if in terms, maybe the mayor didn't want to fund new equipment for the DPW or a new fire truck for the fire department. Maybe work, collectively with the mayor, moving some of the line items around so that maybe we can provide better services and give the department heads what they need in order to service our community properly. So.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Before I let you go, anything else you'd like residents to know about your candidacy and your campaign?
Yeah, I just, I've got the experience of serving on the city council. I've got the experience I was a chairman of the zoning board. I've dealt with zoning issues, building permits, chapter 40B applications, whether they're friendly or not. So I've got, close to 25 years of public service, both from the city of Woburn, on the municipal level, dealing with items. So I've sat there, I've sat there, I've made the tough decisions. I've had to be on both sides of an issue, and then make, a decision on what's in the best interest of not only my constituents, or what's in the best interest of the city at the end of the day. So I've done the job. I've been there. I have the time to give back to the community. I'm looking forward to campaigning for the next 6 or 7 weeks. And I'm asking for one of their 2 votes. I think that if you look at the city council, you have 4 aldermen that are just finishing their first term. So there's not a lot of expertise, with no disrespect to any city council member. There's a mayor's race. You could have a new administration. You got a new alderman coming in Ward 2. So 5 members of the city council could be fairly new. And I just think that my experience could be extremely valuable to the other members of the council, as well as either the current administration or a new administration.
Great. Well, thank you so much for joining us. It was
Thank
a
you.
pleasure to meet you. I don't think we've met before. And Woburn, as always, I hope these election interviews are helpful in making informed decisions when it's time to vote. And we'll get record voters out there to do that. And as always, please continue to take good care of each other.